Hi, I'm Adam. Yeah, that Adam, the first man, formed from dust, breathed into by the mouth of God, given a garden and a command, and maybe most of all, remembered for the fall. But I want to tell you the story before the fall, because before I failed, I walked with him. I didn't come from a womb. I came from the earth. God reached down into the soil and shaped me with his hands. Not like a potter with clay, but like an artist with intention. Then he did something I'll never forget. He leaned in close, and he breathed into me. Not air, not wind, life. And I opened my eyes. The sky above me blue as grace. The earth below me alive with sound. Birds I hadn't named yet circled above. Streams danced over stones like music. Everything was perfect. And I was his. He smiled. I could feel it, even before I saw his face. Like a father watching his child take their first breath. He placed me in Eden, not just a garden. It was a temple of creation. Vines wrapped around fruit-heavy trees. Rivers split into four, and everyone led to wonder. Animals walked beside me, not in fear, but in fellowship. And God gave me purpose. I didn't know it then, but purpose is paradise in its own way. He gave me a command too. It wasn't a prison. It was a boundary of love. I had everything, but even paradise needs structure. Without it, we unravel. And then he gave me her, Evening. The moment I saw her, I knew. Bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh, not made from dust like me, but from a rib near my heart. We walked together, naked and unashamed. There was no jealousy, no guilt, no comparison, only wonder. She laughed at the way parrots talked. She asked me why zebras had stripes. I had no answers, just awe. God had given me someone to share the beauty with, and we were one. Then came the whisper. The serpent didn't storm in with fire. He came with questions. Did God really say? And in those 4 words, he planted a seed of doubt in Eve's heart. She looked at the fruit. Then she looked at me, and I looked back. And I did nothing. She reached, she bit, then she handed it to me. And I, the one formed by God who named every beast and walked with the Creator, I bit into death. Everything changed. It was like light drained from the sky. The trees no longer danced. The ground beneath us felt cold. Suddenly, we saw that we were naked, not physically, but spiritually exposed. Shame stormed into our souls like thunder. We grabbed leaves, fig leaves, as if those could hide our disobedience. Then I heard him, his footsteps. God walking in the garden. The same God who breathed into me, the same God who gave me everything. But instead of running to him like I always did, I ran away. It wasn't a question of location, it was a question of heart. And my heart had broken. I blamed. She blamed. The serpent smirked, and justice came. God didn't scream, he didn't strike us down, but his words, they cut deeper than any sword. We were no longer safe in Eden, because holiness and rebellion can't share the same space. We were cast out, 2 broken humans stepping away from paradise. A flaming sword now stood guard at the gate, not to punish us, but to protect what was too holy for our sin to touch again. I turned back once. Just once, and my heart shattered. I had lost home. Outside Eden, things weren't easy. The ground I once tended with joy now fought back. Thorns, sweat, pain. Eve cried through childbirth, and I cried too, knowing my choice made her suffer. We buried a son. We watched death enter a world never meant to taste it. Sin is not just disobedience, it's separation, and I had caused it. But God didn't abandon us. Even in His justice, there was mercy. He clothed us with animal skins, a shadow of the sacrifice to come. Genesis 3:21. And then He made a promise that one day the seed of the woman would crush the serpent's head. Genesis 3:15. And make all things new. I didn't live to see it, but I believe, because the God who walked with me in the beginning was the same God who still pursued us after the fall. I was the first Adam, but He was the second. 1 Corinthians 15:45. Jesus, the one who came to restore what I destroyed, the one who obeyed where I rebelled, the one who carried my curse to the cross. So maybe you're listening to this thinking, I've messed up too much. I've gone too far. I've disobeyed. I know what that feels like. To taste regret. To feel shame wrap around your soul like chains. To wish you could undo just one moment. But hear me. He's still walking. Still whispering. Still asking, where are you? Not because He doesn't know, but because He wants you to know that even now, He's searching for your heart. You're not too dirty, not too broken, not too far gone. He's the God who breathes into dust and makes it divine. I was the first man, the first to fail, but also the first to be pursued by grace. I lost Eden, but through Christ, we've been offered something even greater, restoration. So tell me, what would you have done if you were me? Would you have stayed silent? Would you have run? Or would you have reached for grace? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Your story matters. Your voice matters. And if this moved you, subscribe for more. Because from Genesis to Revelation, our dust still matters to God. And maybe, just maybe, you're here for such a time as this.